Okay, everyone, I am back. And today I'm going to break down the Los Angeles Lakers versus Denver Nuggets Western Conference Finals series in this little mini episode right here, or at least segment, I should say, okay? So, I'm going to pick the Lakers to beat the Nuggets in 6 games during the 2020 Western Conference Finals. I just have to, at this point, pick the Lakers because I think that overall, after the Clippers just got eliminated by the Nuggets, I think the Lakers are by far the best team left remaining in these playoffs. And I'm going to pick LeBron James and Anthony Davis to get it done. Wire to wire, the Los Angeles Lakers have probably been the most consistent team in the NBA outside of Milwaukee. And we all know that Milwaukee showed that they were frauds versus the Miami Heat, okay? This is a team in the Los Angeles Lakers that went 52-19 during the regular season. They were the number 1 team in the West for a reason. They got great chemistry. They're going to be well rested for this series. That's very key that they, close the Rockets out in 5 games and had several days to prepare for this Nuggets series just because you got some veteran players on this team like LeBron James, like Danny Green, a little bit older legs, so those older legs are going to be a little more fresher this time around. And I look at a team like Los Angeles. They have a team that has a lot of veteran players on it. And while Denver, they're a team that's very, very good and very young and on the rise. And I do believe the Denver Nuggets are the future of the NBA. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time. But I don't think that this is their year. And I think the Lakers' experience actually is really what's going to catapult them to winning this series. LeBron James, Rajon Rondo, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Danny Green. These are guys on the Lakers roster that have made deep playoff runs, that have been to conference finals, that have played in multiple NBA finals matchups, okay? Denver, the only experienced guy they have on their roster is Paul Millsap. He's been to 1 conference finals back when he was with the Hawks, and he got absolutely swept by LeBron James. And I believe it was the Cleveland Cavaliers at that time. Yes, it was the Cleveland Cavaliers that year. And my biggest question for Denver is, who's going to guard LeBron James? I mean, Denver, one thing about Denver is they are, in my opinion, an average defensive team. They're not great defensively. They're not poor defensively, but they're very average in that area. And I do believe that LeBron James, if he puts his head down and does his thing, he'll be able to average 30 on this team if he needs to. And, I get a team that's better defensively, in my opinion. When I look at the Los Angeles Lakers, when comparing them to the Nuggets, I get a team that actually has more size, in my opinion, in the Los Angeles Lakers. And it all comes down to this. The Lakers have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and the Nuggets, they don't. When it comes to these conference finals matchups, all these teams are pretty much even, at least in some respects. Boston, Miami, Denver, LA. All these teams have good players. All these teams have fairly good head coaches, okay? All these teams have good chemistry. What it's going to come down to is who's got the better players, in my opinion. Look at last year. The Warriors. They had better players than the Blazers last year. You look at a team like Toronto. They had the best player in that series in Kawhi Leonard. They defeated Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks, okay? I think LeBron James recognizes what is on the line in this series. If LeBron James at least gets to the NBA Finals, let alone wins the NBA Finals, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be saying LeBron James is overtaking Michael Jordan. In fact, there were already a lot of people that, flipped their opinions a couple years ago when LeBron James beat the Warriors in the NBA Finals when he was down 3-1 and came back on that 73 win Warriors team. If LeBron James wins another NBA Finals, man, it's going to be hard to deny him, man. I'm going to admit, it's going to be hard, man. I've said in the past that if LeBron James wins 2 more titles, I will name him the greatest player of all time. But I mean, if he wins another NBA Finals, I'm not gonna be mad at you if you say that he's the greatest player of all time. And LeBron, he knows what's at stake, man. He knows what's at stake. Now, really quickly, I want to go over the blueprint for the Denver Nuggets to win this playoff series over the Los Angeles Lakers. So if the Denver Nuggets were to pull off the upset, here's what is going to need to happen. Jamal Murray, will have to play big down the stretch, especially late in games. Jamal Murray has been the Denver Nuggets go-to guy in the clutch at times, even though Nikola Jokic has played very well in the clutch as well. But if they need perimeter shots, Jamal Murray's going to have to hit them. You know, Jamal Murray's had a great playoff run. We've seen this guy go off for 50 and 40 points on multiple occasions during the 2020 NBA playoffs. He is going to have to play big down the stretch. And listen, man, I won't be shocked if Jamal Murray yet again has another really, really good playoff series, just because at times we've seen the Lakers' perimeter defense be a weakness for their team. So, you know, at times Damian Lillard, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, they've had their way on the perimeter with the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the one weakness for the Los Angeles Lakers is their perimeter defense and sometimes lack of shooting, you know, on offense. But we've seen, you know, some very talented point guards and shooting guards, you know, give the Lakers problems at times. And I would not be shocked if Jamal Murray has a great playoff series. Also, Michael Porter Jr., he's the biggest X factor, in my opinion, for this Denver Nuggets team. I would say that if Michael Porter Jr. can average over 15 points per game during this series versus the Lakers, the Nuggets have a very good chance to pull off the upset because this guy is their big-time spark plug off the bench. He's excellent. He's a very good young player. He's a very good shooter, natural scorer. If Michael Porter Jr. has a very good series for the Denver Nuggets, then they have a great chance to beat the Lakers. And last but not least, Nikola Jokic is going to have to outplay Anthony Davis. If Nikola Jokic outplays Anthony Davis, that gives the Nuggets a huge advantage over the Lakers. And if those couple of things happen, I would not be shocked if the Nuggets pull off the upset. But I'm going to go with the Lakers in 6 games over the Nuggets. And I'm going to say one more thing before I end this little segment right here. The Los Angeles Lakers are not going to blow a bunch of leads to this Denver Nuggets team. LeBron James is a much more better floor general and point guard and leader of a team than one Kawhi Leonard and Donovan Mitchell. We saw the Jazz and the Clippers at times blow some leads to this Denver Nuggets team. Denver is a very resilient team, and they're not going to go down without a fight. If the Lakers go up by 10 to 12 points, don't for 1 second think the game is over, because Denver, they've shown the ability to come back on these teams and steal away games during the playoffs. But I trust LeBron James to control the tempo down the stretch, to make sure the lead is safe, and to close the deal if the Lakers are up by double digits late in these games, okay? So, with all those things being said, I'm going to pick the Los Angeles Lakers to beat the Denver Nuggets in 6 games during the 2020 Western Conference Finals, and I believe LeBron James makes his 10th NBA Finals appearance in 2020. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.